Hey everyone, this is Jen. You're watching BPD Woman. Welcome to the channel. If you're new to the channel, thanks for tuning in. Consider subscribing. And if you are coming back to the channel, welcome back. On this channel, you will learn how to more effectively live and manage your borderline personality disorder. It's my goal to help you become more effective in handling your emotions, recognizing why they come up, when they come up, how to prepare for them, and engaging in effective behaviors that rely heavily on DBT skills or dialectical behavior therapy, so that you can achieve the goals in life that you want, whether that's love or finance or stability in any number of things. I'm here to impart my experience and wisdom living with a disorder for all of my life, and using research and DBT skills to help us along the way. While I am not a counselor or a therapist or psychologist, I can answer one question that most of those folks cannot, which is, what is it like to have borderline personality disorder? I was diagnosed over 21 years ago, and since then, I have spent tens of thousands of dollars trying to improve my life by attending therapy, group sessions, about 4 to 6 rounds of DBT. I have every book, major workbook. I've read them, reread them. And to this day, I watch other channels, including Dr. Daniel Fox's, in order to stay on an upward journey of borderline recovery. So, if that sounds good, please hit subscribe and the bell below so you never miss a beat. I produce anywhere from 4 to 6 videos each week. So today, actually this is my second video today. Am I saturating YouTube too much? Let me know. Today, I had a quick encounter. I was by myself. I had a quick encounter and I wanted to share it with you. So today's video is entitled, What to Do When You're Judging Others. Try this instead. And I'm going to reveal a little bit into our discussion what that thing is that you might want to try instead if you want to feel better. So why do we judge? You know, where does it come from? Why does it happen to us so frequently? And why does it make us feel so bad? Let me tell you what happened to me today. So today I was out walking a client's dog, and it was during the daytime lunchtime, and it was nice and sunny here today. And as I was walking this dog on a pretty busy side street that leads to a pretty busy thoroughfare, I could hear this one car coming down the street pretty loudly. Like it sounded like a jalopy, just a bunch of like clanging metal and like smoke sputtering and things like that. Like everything that you might think would be a cliched version of like a beater car. I mean, she had her hazards on. It sounded like the whole darn thing was going to come apart and all 4 wheels were going to pop off. I mean, I'm not making this up. It was, I even think it was like a grinding noise. She couldn't even go very fast, and she had her hazards on. And so I'm walking this dog, and I drive a lot for what I do for a living, so I'm on the road a lot, so people like that tend to really annoy me. So I found myself starting to think the following things. Okay, what is she doing? Get the fuck out of the road, lady. You're being a moron. Why are you holding everyone up? You obviously know that your car's no good. Why are you making everyone else's life so harder today by having it on the road? Shouldn't that be at a mechanic's office, you know? Why are you still driving around lunch hour when it's the busiest time, right? So all of these like really negative thoughts that came out of my head. This is all, and just to myself, I didn't say these out loud, but just in the span of about 30 seconds as this car went by, literally sputtering down the street. And so I thought, okay, why are you saying these negative things? You know, even though you're not saying them out loud, you are saying them, right? And you're poisoning yourself in essence. And I've talked about this book before, Don Miguel's The 4 Agreements. And the 4 agreements are, don't take anything personally, be impeccable with your word, Don't make assumptions and always do your best. And when it comes to being impeccable with your word, he talks about in his book that also means your self-talk. So you want to be impeccable with how you talk to others, what you say, that you're not trying to manipulate them, make them feel bad, that you're being honest. And you also want to give yourself the same courtesy. So it started to make me feel bad that I was having these feelings about this woman's car. And I was having this like poisonous self-effect. And I was like, I stopped myself and I was like, I don't want to feel like that. I don't want to think that about her. I don't want to say that. I don't know anything about this woman. It's really none of my business. And so I wanted to stop my judgmental thinking. Now, why do we want to stop our judgmental thinking? Why is this so important to BPD recovery? Well, think about it for a minute. Black and white thinking, splitting, labeling, jumping to conclusions. Essentially, those are all types of judgmental behavior, right? Black and white thinking is this extreme view of a thought process. It's this or that. It's good, it's bad, it's ugly, it's pretty. It's worthless, it's priceless. Splitting, okay? Labeling, you're a moron, you're the best, you're stupid, you're the smartest, you're stupid. Okay, those are labels. Jumping to conclusions, fortune telling, catastrophizing, right? Getting to an idea of how something's going to turn out before you really have any information about how it's going to turn out. That's also being judgmental. You're putting, judgment is simply a cliched or stereotyped stamp of a conclusion you've drawn that really is uninformed by much fact or basis. It's more emotional in its approach. So if you think about it, being judgmental has a lot to do with destructive BPD behaviors and thought processes. So if you continue to be judgmental, if you continue to use the thoughts that I just said as they come by, and maybe this is not a problem for you, and if it's not, you're lucky, you're a lucky person as far as I'm concerned. But if you continue to think judgmentally, then you will find yourself splitting, jumping to conclusions, using black and white thinking, labeling others. This will continue to happen, and you're going to get better and better at being judgmental, which means you're going to get further and further away from recovering from your borderline behaviors. So seeing things in the gray, right? Being curious and not judgmental, not putting a label on anyone, data mining, gathering information before you jump to a conclusion. Those are all of the opposite behaviors to all of the judgmental ones. So if you don't want to stick in your BPD thinking, and which thinking leads to behaviors, and behaviors lead to life choices, and life choices lead to where you are right now. So that's the first reason. The second reason is how it makes other people feel. Even if we're just, let's say I said those things out loud today. What if I had said those things to her? I didn't. I said them to myself, and so that made me feel bad. But if you said them to someone, or if someone said them to you, like, Jen, you're so stupid. Jen, why do you have that freaking old car on the road? Oh my God, why is your dog so untrained, right? If you use these kind of judgmental thought processes, how does that make you feel? Well, if someone judges me, I'm like, I'm closed off. I'm not sharing anymore. That was really hurtful. I don't trust you to be around my emotions, right? You don't want to hang out with that person. You want to limit your interactions. They feel tense. I don't want to feel that way. And I don't want to make other people feel that way, generally speaking. So what is it that we can try instead to replace the judgments? Okay. What I would like you to consider is, instead of judgments, try considering using compassion. Compassion. Okay. So it sounds something a little bit like this. For me, the way that I have some, I'm always such a proponent of the phone. You can use your phone to set reminders. You can use your phone to send calendar events. You can use your phone to give you updates on anything that you think might be helpful in your recovery. For me, I probably have each day 5 or so phrases and little things that I've written to myself that will pop up on a daily basis. And one of the, to help me through my recovery, to act on behaviors that I want to act on. And one of those things that comes out of my calendar events is, instead of being angry, try compassion. Well, for me, I think anger is pretty closely related to judgmentalness. So instead of anger, I try compassion. Clearly, I was showing this woman in her car situation anger. Ugh. And I was also thinking about it in terms of how it affects me, right? You're holding up my day. I've got to listen to that noise bucket, right? You're blocking me from getting around you. You're making me late. You're inconsiderate of my schedule, right? So I have this every day. I look at it when I'm walking my dog, these things that I want to tell myself. And one of them is, instead of anger, try compassion. So I caught myself in that moment. And this all played out under the span of 3 or 4 or 5 minutes today. So when I started feeling negative and bad about all of this judgmental self-thoughts that I was having about this person that I don't know in her car, I quickly reminded myself, instead of anger, try compassion. So I corrected my inner thought monologue, and it went more something like this. Here is the compassionate way that I approached her. That poor woman. She must be in dire need of help today, and that's why she has her flashers on. She's really trying to get somewhere today. It must be urgent. Maybe she's feeling desperate. I feel bad. Maybe she doesn't have enough to fix her car. She's probably hurting financially right now. A lot of us are hurting financially. I'm hurting a bit financially. I've been there with a car that has a lot of mechanical problems, and it's a terrible place to be. As soon as I started to say those things internally, my anxiety and tension and anger levels really started to decrease. They're even decreasing right now as I'm recalling this situation. And in the process, what it did is it made me feel, it built my self-esteem, for one, because I did something that was masterful. I stuck to the ethics and what I wanted to be. It made me, the way that I was acting made me feel like that I was being the person that I want to set out to be. Now, this took years for me to practice and to master. This took a long time. Today it took me 4 or 5 minutes, but 5, 6, 7, 10 years ago, that process would have taken me a couple of hours, perhaps. It's tough, guys. I know it's tough. One exercise that a therapist hooked me up with was to walk around the city or the neighborhood where you live or a store and count, even write them down, take a counter, 1, 2, 3, 4. Count how many judgmental thoughts you have in the span of 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, anything from, that child is so ill-behaved, like, oh God, he needs to lose some weight. Oh man, why did she wear that shirt, right? Count. Because what I was overwhelmed with when I did that exercise one day was how much more negative judgmental thoughts were actually coming out of me than I thought. I thought, oh, maybe I'll have 10. It was something like 40. And I stopped counting after 10 minutes. I was like, oh my God, this is so out of control. So that's this evening's video, is instead of judging others, try compassion. Let me know what you think below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, comments, and as always, consider subscribing. And until I talk to you next time, in whatever you do, please be effective. Bye-bye.